In my 3 decades of dedication to the black cab industry, I have mentored countless aspiring cab drivers, contributed to the black cab charities and organised inclusive events like the Whizzam barbecues to foster a sense of community within our trade. I've developed cutting-edge apps to streamline studying and invested in purpose-built schools for knowledge advancement. Throughout this journey, I have weathered unwarranted abuse and baseless criticism, often from those who don't truly know me. Yet as a business owner, a family man and a proud Londoner, with 30 years behind the wheel, my commitment to this trade remains unwavering. I am passionate about seeing it flourish for generations to come. However, the prevalence of unfounded abuse, particularly amongst our own ranks, is both disheartening and unprofessional. It's time to move beyond keyboard warrior antics and work together to uplift our industry. Something happened recently that got me starting to think again about what is wrong with our trade. Who are the ones bringing it down? Is it ourselves and we don't even know it? Are you a fan of Cycling Mikey? That's my first question, because as much as he thinks he is a safety crusader or a vigilante doing good, in many of the cases that I see on his YouTube channel, it would seem to me to be seriously overzealous and extremely petty, with very serious consequences for those that are caught. That said, keep your phones in the cradles. Don't be a victim of these self-appointed law enforcers. Not to mention the outrageous hypocrisy of cyclists who effectively break far more traffic laws than any driver on a day-to-day basis, as well as unlicensed pedicabs, electric bicycles and electric scooters that avoid all penalties and drive with impunity with no registration. So I'm going to presume that you're not a fan of Cycling Mikey, but are you a fan when your fellow cab driver gives you the same self-appointed judge and jury treatment and a trial by social media? Because you can't be both. You can't be against Cycling Mikey and for sharing your grievances about other licensed taxi drivers. We're so fragmented that the question for us is, are we in this together or are we just in it for ourselves? There is so much wrong with this post by Sean. It's an attack on someone. I don't mind that it's me, but it is an attack on someone. Someone who is in the same industry, someone who you should stand side by side with to make the trade better. But instead, we're slating each other on Twitter. How petty do we have to get? How uninformed, how opinionated and vocal and self-righteous many of us are. Let me address the simple things. First, the last time I drove a Vito was 7 years ago. I borrowed it from my friend Sabit. It's the only time I have ever driven a Vito. 2, I live in Turkey. I haven't driven a cab for a year. The last time I drove a cab, it was an electric cab. And 3, what is it exactly that this other driver did to make Sean feel he should name, shame and out someone? Made him so angry he needed to blame someone and publicly express his dislike for other cab drivers. Because for me, there are so many unanswered questions. Was the rank empty? Did the driver pull onto a half-empty rank or the back of the rank? Were there people queuing for cabs? When did Sean pull behind this cab? Was it whilst the fare was paying, or was it when the fare had been completed paying? Why didn't Sean get out and explain his case to the driver? Or is it that we are so much braver when we don't have to face people? I don't see a clear-cut case of a driver indiscretion without the other driver's point of view. We have to just take Sean's word for it that he was in the right. Don't you think at some stage we have all done something that would have upset the likes of Sean? So my point is that it's not a good look for our industry to be saying this kind of stuff about other drivers. If you feel you have an issue with a driver, then deal with it there and then, not on social media. You just make us hate ourselves and our own trade. It will be left to the likes of Sean and others who quite frankly contribute nothing to our trade other than the stereotypical portrayal of a moany old cab driver. So let me address the last thing, which is the Addison Lee thing. My relationship with Addison Lee is that I teach their drivers to do the knowledge. I have taught hundreds of Addison Lee drivers over the years, and the only difference now is Addison Lee is funding them. Essentially increasing the numbers on the knowledge, essentially securing the knowledge's future. And if you don't like that, then I would like to know what your solutions were for saving the trade from extinction. Let's be more supportive. Let's become a more united trade. Let's make a rule book of driver etiquette for all to follow. The trade, in essence, is its own worst enemy. So if you have any concerns about me, what are your thoughts? How can I improve? I invite you to message me with your questions and I'll aim to address them in my upcoming video. Let's move away from trolling and refrain from criticizing fellow drivers online. It's time to transition from being keyboard warriors to reclaiming our professionalism as the professional drivers that we are.